in Cloud City, my head is in the sky. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight, finally feeling free.
Hey everybody, welcome to Full Time Fans. I'm Logan.
And I'm Thomas, and this is a trailer reaction.
Yeah, we're watching the most unnecessary trailer of all time.
Yep. All right.
For
So
the most
this has been like hyped up on Reddit and everything. There's a lot of. I looked at the comment section without actually watching the trailer, and everyone was like, "Yeah!" And some people were like,
No,
"This is dumb." We'll see what's up. All right.
Yeah. Whoa, whoa.
Sorry.
Is that even the right one?
No, it is. It's because I was like I said, I was looking at the comments and I just had the volume off. This is my YouTube account and everything. So.
Oh.
Yeah. See, I was.
You were looking at the comments. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So
we are going into it fresh. We did not watch it.
Yeah, we did not watch it. All right. So here we go. Oh look, it's a Star
There's
Destroyer.
a space rat.
It's being built. Probably won't.
You're after something.
Western.
Is it revenge?
There's buttons in Star Wars now. Because you just
Money.
like unclick these like.
Money.
Yeah.
That was
Or is it something else?
Chewbacca.
You look good. A little rough around
Daenerys
the edges,
Targaryen,
but good.
mother of dragons.
Heard about a job. Big shot gangster putting together crew.
Is that?
It's a heist movie.
Wait.
I'm a
Is
driver.
that Vision?
I'm
Maybe.
a flyer.
He's a driver and he's a
I
flyer.
waited a long time for a shot like this.
Get a man who can do both.
What do you think? Well, what do you know?
You got a line on a ship?
Yeah, I know a guy. He's the best smuggler around.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true. Everything you've heard about me is true.
Oh, so suave though. I like him.
Let's go with a mean man's face.
Who are these guys?
Is Lobot gonna be in this?
Oh, maybe.
If you come with us, you're in this life for good.
You might wanna buckle up, baby.
The space train right there.
Let me give you some advice.
It was-
Oh my gosh, that actually, if that's on
Everyone will betray
Kessel.
you.
That looks like the Rogue Squadron
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, there's like
I got a really good
Is
feeling.
Chewie? Wait, there was a female Wookiee back there.
Oh my gosh.
We'll go back.
When do you know how to
Wookiee's
fly?
got Chewie's got a love interest. If we have like a tragic.
That was 190.
You look great. Push it.
Okay, you just like that was some Wookiee tossing. I like that.
Yeah.
Did Chewie die? Did Chewie die, guys? Oh my gosh! Is Chewie dead? It's just like Bucky all over again.
I was kind of
He's
actually
gonna come back with a mechanical arm.
I was actually wondering that. And I was like, oh wait, I feel dumb now because after you said that. All right, yeah, we gotta go see. What if it's like
Go back to wherever Chewie's girlfriend was.
or it could. What if it's like his mom from the Christmas special?
Yeah! we'll throw that up.
It becomes canon. Oh wait,
Wait, there it is. Just let it play. Let it play.
Okay. Yep. Oh, look at that. Yep, that's a thing.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it's just somebody he's hugging, so it's someone, another Wookiee that's important to Chewie.
Yeah, so,
They're probably dead.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
yeah.
Just, I mean, off the top.
Why do you
of my
think it's a
head.
female, though?
I don't know. It just had longer hair, and like the hair was like kind of blushed out. You know, like push play a second.
It's the beards.
And like they did that, like the whole like face to face
Yeah.
thing. I just caught that, and I was figured, love interest for Chewie probably that's gonna die.
190 years old? You look great.
Well, they're just gonna bring that up. I mean, yeah, Chewbacca's 200 in A New Hope.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's 200 in A New Hope. That's why everybody was all okay. Pause this a second. Yeah, everybody was all upset in Force Awakens that Chewie didn't have like gray hair.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, it wouldn't really make sense. I mean, he doesn't age as quickly as humans do. He's
Yeah.
200 in A New Hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't really know that unless you were a nerd. But
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's like, I want to see some age on Chewie too, and it's like we don't even know how long Wookiees
well,
live.
that would have to be long after pretty much everybody else we know is dead.
It's dead. It's like a Legolas deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like an Asgardian deal too.
Yeah.
It's like for like I don't even know. Somebody should like look up the lifespan of a Wookiee and put it in the comments.
I'm a driver, and I'm a flyer. I waited a long time for a shot like this. What do you think? Well, what do you know?
Okay.
What do you know?
I don't know how I feel about him, man. I mean, he's just not going to be Han Solo no matter what. I mean,
he can't. No one can live up to like Harrison Ford. I did like the remark where he's like, "What do you think?" He's like, "What do you know?" You know, like he does have like
the words are fine. It's just him saying them that doesn't jive with me. It doesn't sound like Han. The way he doesn't say it like the way I think Han would say it. His voice doesn't sound anything like Harrison Ford's.
It's like he's trying to do an impression, but he's like,
but he just doesn't have the voice to do it. You know, it's like whenever like The Dark Knight came out and everybody was doing the Joker impression.
Yeah.
Why? So serious? Why so serious? Why so serious? Let's put a smile on this face.
Like some people couldn't do it just because they straight up don't have that voice.
Why so serious, dude? It's just like I had a friend do it. It's just like the movie, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's It's like
Man, no, it's not. And that's why I think this movie is just so unnecessary because
well, you got to know that they like screened like a whole bunch of people, and they were like, this guy's like the closest. I mean, they had to like at least do because there was a whole bunch of people in the running when they were talking about it, so they had to be like, well, he's the best out of all of them. I
guess, but I'm like, just don't do it.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I don't hate the trailer.
I don't hate the trailer. I mean, it's a great, Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But I mean, straight up, this looks like. I mean, even some of the scenes straight up look like they're out of a Marvel movie, even with like Chewie falling off of an ice thing.
Yeah,
if that's on a train.
Yeah.
Well, like right there, I'm like, I just thought Bucky immediately.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to put at the end to keep you in suspense.
Yeah, is Chewie gonna die, guys?
It's like we know he's just gonna pull him in that shot. It's not even gonna be a big shot in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think it'll be okay, hopefully, because I mean, after The Last Jedi, I'm kind of sketched about what's going to be good or not.
And I'm even not entirely sold on Lando just this second.
Really,
yeah.
He was by far my favorite part of it.
Everything you've heard about me is true. L3. Let go of the mean man's face.
Who are these guys?
Might wanna buckle up, baby.
I don't know. So what do you not like about him?
It's not that I don't like him. It's just that it doesn't sound like Lando necessarily. Like, okay, like he says, like, you might want to buckle up, baby. Like he's saying things that Lando would say. He's just not saying them the way Lando would say them. Like, all right, you better buckle up, baby. Like, he's just like slower and
he's
smoother.
Not Billy D. Williams.
Like, he's not quippy. He's not quippy and quick. Like Lando isn't quippy and quick. He's like slower and more smooth with the way he talks and everything.
Santa Barbara, you are now entering the smooth storm.
That's just like the way Lando always talked to me. And I'm like, anybody could do that. I'm not mad because there's a new person being Lando. I'm not even mad at all. I'm just like not fully sold on it because he doesn't sound the way that Lando sounds. I'm like,
that's always the problem. Is just like each actor has a nuance to their performance and like what they did when they were doing it. They like, oh, this is my motivation.
Yeah.
And then when you try to recast someone, they're not going to get those voice nuances. They're not going to get those acting nuances.
Here's the difference, though. All right, between Star Trek and Star Wars here.
Yeah.
Okay. Star Trek wasn't the same timeline. This is the same timeline.
Oh, you're talking about the J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, J.J. Abrams Star Wars. Like Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek was Chris Pine as Kurt and what's the actor who played Spock?
Shoot, I don't remember now.
I used to know
the guy who played in Heroes.
Yeah, he was in Heroes as Siler too, but yeah, it's just they sounded like a good version of those characters still.
Yeah, but even though they didn't get the nuance of their performance down, it was okay because it was a different
it's not like
universe.
We have to believe like, oh, the entire original Star Wars Star Trek series starts right after this. It's like, no, it didn't. It didn't exist in the same world at all.
Yeah,
there's a totally different world.
Which I liked as a Star Trek fan because I was like, oh, I liked Captain Kirk even though he was silly. I liked
either one ruining the other.
Yeah, I liked Spock. You know, he was like my favorite character, and when I went into it, I was like, I'm not gonna like anyone new as Spock besides
Zachary
Leonard
Quinto.
Nimoy.
Zachary
Quinto.
Yeah.
But then I watched Zachary Quinto. I'm like, oh, this is real. My Spock still exists. I was like, oh, okay. Well,
Not
no,
only
that's cool.
does your Spock still exist, your Spock's in this damn movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, well, I can appreciate someone new coming in. This is just straight up saying after. Wait, you say he's 200?
Yeah.
So this play takes place.
So probably takes place maybe like 5 or 6 years after.
That's not enough time to believe the roles changed. You know, it's so short.
Okay, here's the thing. If you're gonna just bank on nostalgia, which is all this is, because it's you get Lando, Chewie, and Han. Like, you get Han, one of the most, arguably the most popular Star Wars character.
Yeah.
And it's all about him. Then I'm like, okay, just turn into the skid, man. I'm like, throw Jabba in there, throw Boba Fett in there, throw, like, everybody and, like, do the Kessel run, show the world of Kessel, and show, like, how Han lost his shipment before A New Hope, and got all these bounty hunters pissed at him.
Yeah.
Like, do that shit. But I'm like, other than that, I'm like, you're gonna just add an entirely disconnected story to a story that's forced to be connected to everything. And I'm just like, because it's Han Solo, I'm like, turn into the skid and just show us the things we've never seen that we've heard about so much. That was what was so cool about Return of the Jedi, is we finally got to see Jabba after hearing about him for 2 movies.
Before the special
editions, because Jabba is not in A New Hope, god damn it. So,
he's not.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got this. You hear about Jabba throughout A New Hope and Empire and how much money Han owes Jabba. And then you see Boba Fett and how he captured him, and then you finally get to see Jabba in all of his big, disgusting, practical glory.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I mean, say what you will about the plan to rescue Han. I don't care about that. What I care about is Jabba's character was awesome.
Yeah.
He was just gross and awesome. And I'm like, what if Woody Harrelson's character was calling him in to get a job that he's like... Because right here, where was the part where he like said, "Hey, there's this guy who's putting a team together," and he's all like, "Oh, my shot and everything."
They're right there,
right about there.
You look good. A little rough around the edges, but good.
Heard about a job. Big shot gangster putting together.
Big shot gangster.
So obviously this guy's the big shot gangster.
Yeah, cool. I'm like, you know who else is a big shot gangster? That would be really cool to actually see the dynamic between Han and Jabba.
Yeah.
Would be
who is this guy?
Yeah, this guy's just some guy, and he's probably either going to be dead or just, fade out into obscurity. He's not important.
Unless they're going to have Jabba and Boba, and they're just not showing us it right now. It's going to be like, look at that. This guy was just a front for him. They could. We don't know.
I don't know.
They probably won't, but I'm saying they still could do that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I even would want that. I'm like, if you're gonna do a Han Solo movie, then do it that way. I don't want a Han Solo movie in the first place, but I'm just
number one in trending.
Yeah, I get it. I'm like, no, that's the thing. Star Wars is always going to be popular, no matter what.
Yeah.
Star Wars is going to be popular, regardless of how absurd the product is. I mean, just look at the Jar Jar Binks sucker. Where you literally French Jar Jar, that's the product. You ever seen that shit?
No.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna look it up on Google right now. Okay. Prepare to be amazed.
Oh, why would what?
That's a product right there.
Oh,
and that thing flew off shelves.
What? Everyone's like, oh yeah.
If something has the Star Wars name on it,
they were like,
it's gonna sell.
I know that in the movie.
You know what all kids were really thinking during Phantom Menace? I want to French the hell out of Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I wish I never would have saw that.
Yep. Well, that's in your mind now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
don't know what to say about this.
No.
It looks okay. I mean, it doesn't look horrible. It's just kind of like. It's everyone's saying is that the thing about Star Wars is that it keeps going now and they have movies slated all the way up to the future and they're saying it's not really going to be anything special anymore. It's just going to be like everything else, It's just going to
not only that, but I mean, okay, think of Marvel. Marvel has a bunch of movies that kind of break the mold and go off and do their own thing, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, a few different things here and there, and it's probably going to branch out even further after Infinity War.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing. it all feels like it's in the same world.
Yeah.
And you appreciate each part of it. Even the ones that aren't that good, like Thor: The Dark World, I still buy that they're in the MCU, and they're not necessarily bad movies. They're just not as good as the other ones.
Yeah.
What is annoying to me is that this is turning Star Wars into the franchises that came before the MCU, like Fox's X-Men. Half those movies don't have anything to do with one another, and they don't even acknowledge what happened in past movies.
Yeah.
Like, Days of Future Past alone is a good movie, but it doesn't explain how Wolverine got his claws back, because he got his claws cut off in the Wolverine, and then he just suddenly has metal claws again in Days of Future Past. And they just don't care to explain these things. They just, they don't care. And I'm like, okay, then I don't care. I don't care that these movies don't have anything to do with each other, but because some of them are good on their own, like Days of Future Past. The only two movies in the X-Men franchise that are good together are the first X-Men and X2. Yeah. Those are the only two that acknowledge what happened in past ones, and then because as soon as X3 came out, Nightcrawler's gone. Charles could walk back then, and he was still friends with Magneto. Yeah. In their prelude of that movie. They just don't explain a bunch of stuff, and they just kind of use other mutants as cameos instead of actual characters. Yeah. Like Colossus was just a cameo in X2, and basically the same in X3.
So you're saying that that's where this is
That's
going.
where it feels like now. I feel more like these movies aren't really acknowledging what happened in other movies, really, because the Star Wars universe feels so scattered now that it doesn't feel interconnected at all. Yeah. And
we've only had one spin-off so far.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about even the core movies, like Last Jedi we're talking about. There was a lot of stuff that just doesn't line up with Episode 7 because they didn't care to explain how this makes sense with a movie that came literally seconds before this chronologically. And so now we're getting this Han Solo one, which has a little bit more time to play with, but I'm like, all the stuff you're choosing to focus on is stuff we're never going to see again, so what's the point? Yeah. I'm like, we're not going to see this guy in Star Wars again. At least not, unless they're planning on doing a reboot that takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi or something. Yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, but who knows? Because they are milking the Galactic Civil War era for all it's worth. And I'm just like, guys, you need to leave this time period or leave this area of the galaxy.
Well, Ryan Johnson, he's getting his own thing now.
Why does he deserve his own trilogy? I don't get it. Why does he deserve his own trilogy? He's getting a trilogy of movies when he's literally only made 2 movies before Last Jedi, and Last Jedi wasn't even that good. So I don't get why he deserves an entire trilogy to go and do his own thing. But this is just annoying. I don't see the point. I don't see the point in the decisions they made in Last Jedi because he's breaking the mold, changing everything up. I'm like, yeah, but this is part of a trilogy of movies that was set up by J.J. Abrams, and you just ignored it. I'm like, then don't make the movie. I'm like, if you don't want this trilogy, then don't make this trilogy. Make your own trilogy, which you're gonna get. It's and then and then not only that, I'm just this whole era just. I don't like Rebels for the same reason. You can say what you want about why it's a bad thing, but I don't like it because of how close it is to A New Hope. I'm like, it's playing around with Darth Vader way too much. It was kind of the same thing when back before Disney bought anything, when they made Force Unleashed 2, I had the same problem. I'm like, I felt like I could stop playing the first Force Unleashed game and immediately start A New Hope and be happy with it, Yeah. But then they made a second one, and at the end of that one, Darth Vader's captured in a capsule, and they're hinting at there's going to be a third one. And I'm just like, guys, you're playing way too close to the chest with how close you're getting to A New Hope. And at least with Rogue One, it did exactly what I was saying this one should do. It took things we heard about in A New Hope, basically the entire crawl of the movie, and made it a movie. And it makes sense. You can watch Rogue One and then immediately watch New Hope, and it flows. But with this thing, I'm like, what am I supposed to watch after this? Is it just like a standalone Han Solo movie? Cool, but I'm like, what does it matter then? Star Wars is a linear story. It's episodic, literally. They have episodes. And so now with these Star Wars stories, I'm like, if you're gonna just go tell a spin-off story, then tell a spin-off story of a character we don't know about already.
Yeah.
We already know about
Because now
him.
it's going to be Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do Obi-Wan again.
it's
Yeah, it's just like, that's another character. We know pretty much everything about his
It's like,
life.
what are you going to do with that? It's just like, oh, just tell a random spin-off story again.
Yeah, just tell he left Tatooine for a while.
We're doing
between
a
Revenge
Yoda
Sith.
story.
I actually wouldn't have a problem with Yoda as much because you could get away from the Galactic Civil War with Yoda because he's 900 freaking years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could go way back in time before any of these people are alive. I'm like, a Yoda story would be a great one that I would like to see because you could do something, you could play with it, you could be creative without pissing people off.
Yeah.
And but this one you can't really, because Han Solo is such a great character, played by Harrison Ford only, that you're gonna piss people off no matter what you do with it.
Yeah.
And even if he was good, I would admit it. Even if he was his own good version of Han Solo, which if he is in the movie, I will admit to that. But if he's not, I'm not going to admit to it.
Yeah.
Because it's not true. And he doesn't see. So far, what I'm seeing, it seems like he's saying things Harrison Ford would say, just not the way Harrison Ford can say them.
Yeah.
And same thing with Donald Glover as Lando so far. I want to see this movie be good, I guess, because I don't ever want to see a bad movie.
Yeah.
But I also just like, why do I need it? It's like it's completely unnecessary. Same thing with the Obi-Wan movie if they choose to make that. It's completely unnecessary. Obi-Wan's been in every Star Wars movie except Force Awakens, kind of, because you hear his voice in it.
Yeah.
And Rogue One and Last Jedi. But he's even mentioned in Rogue One.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, we've seen him from Padawan, kind of, to Jedi Master to Force Ghost.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, why do we need any more Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
He's a cool character, yeah, but I'm like, I don't need it. I want other characters. I want new stuff from Star Wars. And I just felt, that's why I was more excited for Last Jedi than I was for this movie when it was coming out, because I knew I was getting something new, regardless of whether it was good or bad. It was going to be new, because you have to do something new with Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren. And then they just made a crappy movie out of it. I'm like, okay. But it's not crappy because it's new. It's crappy because it's crappy.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And you know, it's just the fact that, like, you can do so much with Star Wars. You could have, like, a story about a bounty hunter. But here the thing is that if someone conceptualized a bounty hunter story, the people at Lucasfilm, especially it seems like Kathleen Kennedy, is going to go, okay, we need to staple something everyone knows, so let's do Boba Fett. And it's like, well, that sounds cool, but, like, you still have the whole thing about, like, who's going to play him? Are you going to get the guy from the prequels to play him? And you're going to piss people off. Why not just do something else? Mm-hmm. You know, but everyone wants to kind of play it safe and be like, oh, like, we can staple and stamp something everyone knows on this, like Solo. And,
I'm like, why do you need any more of a stamp other than the Star Wars name?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I bought Shadows of the Empire books and games growing up, and I had no idea who Dash Rendar was.
Yeah,
nobody did, because he's just a
Wars.
made-up character. But I saw Star Wars on there, and I'm like, hey, I want to play this. And hey, it was a decent story. And same thing with, like, Force Unleashed. I didn't know who Galen Merrick was, but I got to meet him and understand him. And they even did stamp some things in there that were from the original trilogy, like Darth Vader. And they did a good job of adapting him into that game, and even the Emperor too. But which is surprising, because the only thing I've ever liked the Emperor in is Return of the Jedi, and now and then Force Unleashed came out, and I was like, oh, this game actually got why I like the Emperor, and they made him the way he was in Return of the Jedi, and I'm just like, oh, that's cool, and lots of stuff like that. There's I even like, my favorite Star Wars book is one that got cut off because of the whole everything has to be canon thing by Disney now, which is Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void, which is a book. And it takes place thousands of years even before the Old Republic happened. And so that was like back when Jedi used swords and the Jedi and the Sith were the same thing. Good book. Really good book. It's like, it feels a lot like Force Awakens because it's setting up a lot of things that never got paid off because the book got cut when canon became a thing. And so, I don't know. I don't care about canon because none of the stuff before Disney took over, none of the stuff was canon. Like, Force Unleashed wasn't canon or anything. It was just a new story that existed, and you could accept it for canon or not. That's what I liked about Star Wars. Anyone could pick and choose what they liked from the extended universe, but the movies were good, at least the original trilogy, on their own. And then you could just kind of pick what you wanted out of it and enjoy it. Now it's like you have to have everything be canon, and even just because it's canon doesn't automatically make it good either. I'm like, they're trying to do the Marvel thing where everything ties together, but even Marvel knows that the comics don't have to tie into the movies.
Yeah.
They have some comics that do, but they don't have to have a ton of comics that do. They don't have to have all their children's cartoons tie into the MCU, because none of them do.
Yeah.
And some of them are pretty good. And yeah, it's just annoying because I'm like, you're just limiting the amount of stuff you can do with Star Wars. I wouldn't mind people who like Rebels as long as I didn't have to watch it to understand stuff. You know, like I don't have to watch Ultimate Spider-Man's animated series to understand Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
I have to watch Rebels for certain things now. And I have to read some comics to even get the context of some things, like the electric stick guy in Force Awakens. You don't know anything. Yeah, you don't know anything about TR-8R, which that isn't even his real number.
No.
You don't know anything about him in that movie, or why he knows that Finn was a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Unless you read a comic book that ties into this, which is annoying. And I'm like. And Force Awakens is a good movie on its own, but there are two things that I feel like bring it down because of that. There's the guy that gets killed at the beginning by Kylo Ren. Honestly, I wish that guy was Wedge Antilles.
Yeah.
Because he was an X-Wing pilot, Poe's an X-Wing pilot. It would kind of make sense. They'd have something to relate over.
Yeah.
And then he dies, and you would care, but not care so much that it would overshadow Han's death later.
Yeah.
Because he was a side character in the original trilogy, but you kind of know who he is, and that's what's just annoying. Is like they're not taking the right advantages at all. They're just kind of throwing things at the wall, hoping that stuff sticks, and it doesn't seem like there's really any point to what they're doing.
Yeah.
With Star Wars, it seems like they're kind of just throwing stuff out there. I thought that Rogue One was a good step, because I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of Star Wars story I would like to see. Something that explains something that I've already seen. This isn't explaining anything I've already seen. Unless maybe it's just like a how Han met Chewie, which I didn't really care because that wasn't much of a question in the. I'm like, the questions that were kind of brought up was, how did Lando lose the Falcon, and all this stuff, because we talked about it. What was the Kessel Run like?
Yeah.
It would be cool to see those things, even if it was just like in a completely unnecessary movie. But I don't know. This movie, it could be cool. It's not. I don't think it's going to be at all. And I don't know. I want to go see it in theaters and be happy about it, but I can't. It's just like, it just feels so unnecessary, so pointless, so not connected to Star Wars that it's just not. Why are we doing it? And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Unless you got something else that you can think of.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you guys tell us what you think about all these spin-offs. Do you like the fact that they're making a Han Solo story or not? You excited for Obi-Wan or not so much? Yeah, just leave some comments below. We love hearing from you. And yeah,
that's
all right.
all I got.
See ya next time.
See ya.